If you watch the channel regularly, you'll know every couple of weeks, myself and Ruggs meet up with one or two guests and talk about Wrath of the Lich King. In the latest episode with Willie, we had a good chat about everything to do with the phases and how the phases are going to look. I'll put a link to the podcast in the description below if you want to go and watch the full version, but there was one particular topic that came up which I want to just make you aware of if you haven't seen the podcast. So as you know, Blizzard are talking about changing the lockout system to Trial of the Crusader. So where ordinarily you would be able to do normal and heroic on 10-man and normal and heroic on 25-man, meaning you've got 4 lockouts, Blizzard are wanting to change so you can only do 10 and 25-man and then a mix of normal and heroic, however they do that, but just the 10 and 25-man each week. Now, we've discovered some real big problems which we're hoping get addressed, because this is going to change a lot of things when it comes to classes' BIS lists in Tier 9. And the reason I say this is if you hunt around for BIS lists anywhere to do with Tier 9, admittedly, they're fairly few and far between, but you'll see things like hunters who want Death's Choice on Heroic and Death's Choice on Normal, because these trinkets are not unique. So this would mean once your guild has cleared Normal and then they go into Heroic or Progress Heroic and you've got it on farm, you can expect your guild to never go back to normal again, because the loot is lesser. Why would you? You're now going to be that guy that was unlucky and never got their trinket in normal. Let's say you've now got your heroic Death's Choice. It's going to be very difficult for you in your guild runs to go back and get the normal trinkets, unless your guild gets to the point where they've got absolute full BIS in 25-man heroic, to the point where now they do go back and fish in normal just for the trinkets. Simple solution to this is obviously make the trinkets unique. But it's things like this that I'm hoping Blizzard listen to. Like, post this on Reddit, whatever, share it, because you don't want to get in that awkward situation, because there's going to be lots of classes that are going to want the normal and heroic version of the trinkets, and it's just going to become really, really messy. This is just a brief little bit of the conversation that we had when we was talking about it in the podcast. Willie, what's your opinion on the whole lockouts being changed?
I can certainly see why they did it. I mean, if Blizzard go into Classic with a philosophy of we want things to be how they were in the final patch because that is the best patch and most complete patch, they made that decision in ICC to make them share lockouts, so I don't see any world where they don't backport that onto Trial. In terms of doing 4 per week, I mean, I can't say I've done it, but I can't say I imagine I would enjoy it that much. I mean, at the moment I'm doing Mount Hyjal sometimes, and it's getting pretty painful. So yeah, I think there's certainly an argument for having them share lockouts.
Well, some of them, like trinkets, you could actually use the normal version and the heroic version together. Which there's things like that where it could get interesting, or they just make them unique. Like Death's Verdict. You could use Death Verdict, normal and heroic, and that's a very good trinket. It's like using 2 Dark Moon Card Greatness, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got
right.
that one, the MP5 one, and the Reign of the Dead, the caster one.
Yeah. Right, and even the tank one. Like, tanks will want to run the double stamina one, both normal and heroic. All of these trinkets are best in slot for basically everyone in the entire game to run both the heroic and normal version. So yeah, they definitely could make them unique, like you're saying, Scotty. Another thing they could do is they could add the normal loot also included with the heroic boss kill as well. So like you kill a boss and you see like 8 items drop instead of 4 or whatever the number is. Like that would be actually insane if they did that. But I hope that Blizzard does not do this. I really don't want to see a tier 9 patch where there are only 2 raid IDs, like a 10-man and a 25-man. Because a tier 9 with 4 raid IDs is genuinely the only thing keeping people involved in that patch at all. It's the fastest, most boring patch. There's already 0 trash in both the dungeon and all the raids. 0 trash. They are done very, 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 very quickly. And in fact, 10-man normal is something that you can basically skip. Like, you can maybe run that a couple times for the badges, or you can just run it on alts for the badges or for catch-up gear. But the 10-man normal, you don't have to do. So it's really only 3 raid IDs. I think people are kind of getting baited into the fact that they have to do 4 raid IDs. It's really just 3. 10-man heroic is pretty fast. A nice little challenge, get a good group together. It's kind of like similar difficulty to, like, I'd say ZA. You want a decent group, go into 10-man, kill it, get 50-50. And then 25-man, it's easy peasy breezy. I mean, you can either split run that with your guild, you can just like clear it with a bunch of pugs, you can GDKP it. That thing's going to be done in 30 minutes. I'm telling you, 30 minutes of your time. It's not a chore like doing Hyjal is. It's not like that at all. It's so easy. And then heroic. I mean, heroic is genuinely like the only thing like people will care about because that's the challenge. That's the push for 50-50. That's the progression on a noob that is actually really challenging for a lot of guilds. I think like the patch is fine. Like I think people are overreacting to the 4ID thing, and people just need to like look. It's okay how it is. It's genuinely okay.
Well, it's gonna like even that, doing heroic 25. It's going from a 30-minute raid to like a 35-minute raid. It's still, it's gonna add a little bit of time, but it's still, once you've got it on farm and you all know what you're doing, it's still really, really quick. You're talking a 1 hour raid night, and you'll do both. You'll do 25 normal. You'll go and blitz through that, do 25 heroic. Let's say an hour and a half. Let's say it's going to take an hour and a half max. And that's your raid night done. Then it's like, all right, okay, see you next week.
I actually didn't know it was that fast. That's good to know. I think I had it overestimated as well. But in terms of what I think Blizzard will do, again, because they made that decision in ICC to change things, that they may go back and do it. And they might even stop the trinkets from stacking, because they also made that decision in ICC.
Well, they're going to have to. If they're going to reduce it to just 2 lockouts, they have to change the trinkets, because they have to make them unique. Because otherwise, it's going to be so bad if you're that guy who missed out on the normal version. All right, great, you've got the heroic version, but your guild no longer are interested in running normal anymore. What do? Do you say to your guild, sorry, I need to pug, I need to go and do normal this week. Like it's my best trinket. I need to go and get it. It's going to cause some real big issues. So yeah, the easy option,
Aim to get it.
Make it unique, and then that job done on it. Like that. But
the
they
solution,
need to think about it.
Go with you.
No, the solution is just make the phase short. Just make the phase short. Like that's it. It's got to be the shortest phase possible. But like, I hate these other like wonky, weird ass solutions. To me, like they kind of trigger me. It's definitely been something that's been on my mind a lot lately. That I hate this idea of like sharing lockouts in T9 and all these solutions with the trinkets. But I like where your head's at, and I do think like those are probably like the only realistic solutions that Blizzard could go. But just leave it as is and make their phase short. It's fine.
So what do you think? Should they be changed? Should they be left alone? Should the lockouts be changed, or should they be left alone? There's a good argument for the lockouts being just left as they are with 4 different lockouts, or there's a good argument for them being 2 as well. But if they do become 2, some of this loot will need to be looked at. And your BIS list, if you're researching heavily for your BIS list throughout the phases, bear in mind your BIS list may change, or you might need to maneuver a little bit, because if you don't get normal in that first week, if you don't get that normal trinket in the first week, odds are you're going to be farming heroic from week 2 onwards and never really go back to normal again with your guild. If you like the video, like, subscribe, consider joining the channel as a member. Helps support me, keeps me here pumping out content, and roll the outro, which is going to say all that again. There's lots of ways you can support the channel to keep me here putting out World of Warcraft content and covering all future MMOs. Consider joining the channel as a member. You get access to emotes. Everyone will know you're a member when you comment on future videos, because you get a nice icon next to your name. And you get access to members-only videos, which I'll be putting a lot of on the channel throughout the year. Additionally, there's a Patreon link in the description as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.